moral reformation, a knowledge of
We
self.
must work passionately and unrelentingly for first-class citizenship.
For instance, if the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself.
We've got to get smart. We've got to organize.
And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man.
We've got to organize so effectively and so well and engage in such powerful creative protest that there will not be a power in the world that can stop us.
We gotta be proud to be black. Don't worry about what they say. We gotta think smarter and live smarter. We gotta want more and work harder, cause they ain't giving it to us. Put your all in. If you truly wanna make it, can't be waiting for handouts, baby, you gotta take it. Like Martin gotta have a dream, cause he had one. Like Malcolm, by any means, gotta get that done. Don't be ashamed of who you are, stick your chest out proud. Make them believe that you're the best, show them what you about. We gotta love each other, stop killing each other. We gotta unitize and don't believe the lies. This is a message to the blacks and any other minority. Live well and love self, that's the priority.
Been taught for so many centuries that they are nobody is not easy.
So they very skillfully made you and me hate our African identity.
Maybe the English language should be reconstructed so that teachers will not be forced to teach the Negro child 60 ways to despise himself and thereby perpetuate his false sense of inferiority.
Our features and our skin and our blood, why we had to end up hating ourselves. It made us feel inferior.
See, Jumbo, it kind of went off a little early, didn't it, John?
I was about a minute and 32 seconds, I think. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, Jumbo, everybody. Welcome back to Satora's Black History Corner. I am your host, Catherine Hunter Williams, and this is my co-host, Catherine Blake.
Hello, everybody.
Say her own name. Okay. We'd like to invite you to call in with any questions or comments at 810-208-1854. I'm sure the number is floating across the screen. We not only tell our story about past great and unsung heroes and sheroes, but also about those living in the present day. On our program, we will always tell our story about the good, bad, and the ugly. We must tell the truth about the bad and the ugliness of our story in order for you to know the good that has taken place throughout our story. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Richard Allinger, and he's going to tell our story about keeping the dream alive through United States bonds and how this movement came about in Flint, Michigan. Okay. All right.
Well, thank you for that nice introduction, Catherine, and it's a pleasure to be here too with you, Catherine. Okay. Now, in 1998, the federal government, 30 years after the assassination incident.
Before you go there,
okay,
will you tell us how you got it started here in the city of Flint? Or do we need to go to that part first to get to where you want to get to?
I was a substitute teacher in the Flint school system back 28 years ago, the year that the federal government passed Dr. King's birthday a national holiday.
Yeah.
And the following week or two after the Congress passed his birthday a national holiday in 1986, they called me to substitute teach a classroom of 40 third graders at Garfield Elementary School on McClellan Street.
Garfield is located
Michigan.
on McClellan.
Yeah.
Right between Saginaw and Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Which used to be back in the day Detroit Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And so there was a movement amongst the people of America who had shared the same dream and vision that Martin Luther King had. And there was actually 6 different incidents that have happened of significance here locally and state level and federal level to keep the dream alive. And his dream, basically, he was the most eloquent speaker of the 20th century. And he spoke with such profundity and wisdom, and he always talked about the fact that he would like to see all of the Jews and Gentiles live together in peace and harmony.
Yeah.
Now, with this vision, the first thing that happened was in 1986, 30 years after he was assassinated, well, in 1986, January 14th was his birthday. So in 1986, January 14th, the U.S. Congress declared Martin Luther King's birthday a national holiday. And
and that holiday though is celebrated on the third Monday after his birthday of the month, not exactly on his birthday.
Yeah. Now it should be observed at this point to tell the listening audience that Martin Luther King, other than Columbus and Jesus Christ, were the only people that were given national holidays that were not government people. So that's quite an honor. And then the second incident, the Congress keeping the dream alive by making his birthday a national holiday in 1986. That was 18 years after he was assassinated, mind you. It was 18 years.
Now, that was 22 years. He was assassinated in 68.
He was assassinated in 68, and then 18 years later, in 1986, they passed his birthday a national holiday.
Okay.
Okay?
But that's 22 years.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 22 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the second incident that happened was around that time in 1986 when Congress passed his birthday a national holiday. I was called by the Flint school system to substitute teach a classroom of third graders, 40 of them, at Garfield Elementary School on McClellan Street. Now, what started there was the teacher didn't leave a lesson plan, and so I had the students actually think about putting Dr. King on a $3 bill because from a Christian view, God is a Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and we asked to put Sojourner Truth on a $9 bill because 9 was the number of months that women are pregnant.
Wow, that's so wonderful. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. And
the meanings behind all this is one of the reasons it captured my heart, but also that it came from Michigan, it came from Flint, and how this got started. But if you listen to all the meanings that he has of why they started this movement, it's awesome.
And I'm sorry, it was 18 years.
Yeah. Well, and so with regard to that, the reason, Adam and Eve in the garden, the woman listened to Satan, and then Adam listened to his wife too. So he told Adam that you should work by the sweat of your brow all the days of your life. From the dust you were made, and to the dust you shall return. So, and then he told Eve, because you've listened to the serpent, I'm going to cause you to bear and conceive and have children. And there was great pain in childbirth. And in the period it takes for a woman to get pregnant and then have a baby is 9 months. So we thought to put the woman, Sojourner Truth, on a Federal Reserve note, because on the green Federal Reserve notes, the $1 bill,
do you see that, John?
The $5 bill, the $5 bill, the $20 bill, the $100 bill, all of these Federal Reserve notes, they do not have no women on them. But see,
wasn't that by design, by law, that it was? I think it was done in Congress that only men would be on the note.
Well, in 1929, the Federal Reserve, who printed this money, had a certain criteria, and they said only those who were presidents or in the president's cabinet, or the signer of a Declaration of Independence like Benjamin Franklin on the $100 bill could be on this money. I mean, there's a certain criteria that a person had to fit before they would even think about putting him on a Federal Reserve note. Now, this $10 bill is Alexander Hamilton. He was the Secretary of Treasury, like Timothy Geiger is in the Obama administration, in George Washington's administration. So this is a Federal Reserve note. So the kids at Garfield Elementary School spent the most of their day drawing pictures of a $3 bill with Dr. King on it and his words, "I have a dream," on the back. On the front, there was a picture of Dr. King. And then there was, on the $9 bill, Sojourner Truth. And we asked the Treasury Department and the President, the kids spent the rest of the day writing letters to President Reagan back in '86, asking if they would think about putting Sojourner Truth on a $9 bill and Martin Luther King on a $3 bill. Now with that, they wrote letters to the President too, and all this at the end of the day was put in a manila envelope addressed to the White House, and it was sent. All right, that was the first time it was thought of. Now, this is only 2 weeks after the national holiday was actually declared. Okay, all right. Now, keeping the dream alive is the most important thing. His vision and dream. So. That was an incident that happened just 2 weeks after the Congress declared his birthday a national holiday. All right, now the third thing that happened...
And that happened here in Flint, Michigan.
The grassroots level, right here in Flint, Michigan, amongst about 40 third graders at Garfield Elementary School, February 6th, 1986, is the movement that started to get King on currency.
You know that's my birthday, February 6th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 28 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now the second thing remember the first thing to keep in mind is January 14th, 1986. Congress passed Dr. King's birthday a national holiday. The second thing is Garfield Elementary School classroom of third graders writing the government to put Dr. King on the Federal Reserve notes. All right. Now the third thing that you have to keep in mind about keeping this dream alive is that through all the many years, Dr. King was hand in hand. The civil rights movement in America was hand in hand with the labor union movement. And he was down in Memphis, Tennessee, with the sanitation workers and their union, trying to make it better for everybody. See, Dr. King was all about making it better for everybody. You know, just trying to help somebody along his way. And the labor union movement in 2009, actually on Labor Day of 2009, unveiled a marble, granite, and a bronze, marble, and granite stone monument at the
is that at Region 1C?
Region 1C at Atherton Road and Vance Lake, and it was to memorialize the historic 1937 UAW sit-down strike, and they had women involved in civil rights there with a 3-ton, 6,000-pound marble ball globe turning into a water fountain. And in the women's names there, in the civil rights section, they had women in labor, they had women in World War II. But women in civil rights, they had Coretta Scott King, Rosa Parks, Michelle Obama, Harriet Walker here locally with the Wednesday morning non-denominational prayer breakfast, and Geneva Spears, who heads up the Flint City Prayer Chain Day.
Absolutely.
Because
her name is on there too?
Yeah, it's in the monument. Yeah,
Geneva Spears.
Geneva Spears is in the monument because their vision is the same thing Dr. King. I mean, peace, hope, love, harmony. That's the vision of the Prayer Chain Day.
Well, we didn't know that her name was in that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And so that was another thing that happened to keep people cognizant of this man and his ideas. All right. Now the fourth thing that happened was in October 16, 2011, the Stone of Hope, a marble and granite Martin Luther King monument as big as President Lincoln in the Lincoln Monument in Washington, D.C. was unveiled with President Obama there, the keynote speaker, and Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder saying the African-American national anthem.
These were all things to keep the dream alive.
Yes.
People have done.
Right. See, it's a continuing work. And here locally, too, we have Paul Herring, who heads up the committee on Juneteenth. And we urge everybody here locally in Flint to join the village because on Juneteenth, that'll be June 19th. Yeah, June 19th.
I'm a co-chair for that.
Well, see, that celebrates the abolishing of slavery through Abraham Lincoln writing the Emancipation Proclamation. And so this is the African American Independence Day, first declared to be a state holiday in Texas In 1865, it was called Freedom Day. Now it's a state holiday in 42 states of the Union.
And it was declared here in Michigan.
Right. In
Wasn't I at that ceremony?
The year that
up in Lansing.
Right, but the year that you had the markers put down at the county courthouse.
Oh, the marker
was the same year that President,
I think
Governor Jennifer Granholm.
Right.
I think I spoke down there.
Yes, you did.
Did the prayer or something?
I think it was 2005.
Yeah.
Right. Now, see, that's shared vision right there. Juneteenth vision. Justice, liberty for all. You see, Juneteenth. And then in 1980 is when they begin to get this at all state levels and make it a state holiday. 42 states are on board right now. And then...
And Michigan is one of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, 42 of them. Michigan is one of them. In 1996-97, then they begin to introduce legislation in Congress, and it's up there right now, trying to make Juneteenth, June 19th,
a national holiday.
While Obama is in office.
Right.
We're hoping that he does that before he leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was supposed to, well, we were looking for it last year, but it didn't happen.
Because he was supposed to have it at the White House. Wasn't he supposed to have the celebration there?
Oh, you're right. And
I mean,
they did have a celebration there. They did.
That's what I had heard.
They did.
Okay.
And then the sixth thing that
Can
happened.
he do that though?
Yes, he's the president.
They can, hey, listen. They can
Would he have to do that for all other ethnic groups that have something going on, that he would have to make theirs a national holiday too?
Well, that very well could be at a national level because on the
so it's
Series
a lot of
I,
things he has to consider in doing
well, they have Latinos now on the $100 savings on the Series I bonds.
Yeah, but that's on the bonds. I'm talking about national holiday.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because Latinos, I mean, all ethnic groups got something they do to celebrate
like
their.
Cinco de Mayo.
They've got a man from Hawaii. It was involved in. They've got on the Series I savings bond that Dr. King's on a man from Hawaii that was involved in civil rights in Hawaii too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some that we might not have heard of. And now that was why the Treasury Department was reluctant in 1991 to put Dr. King.
That's what I'm talking about.
In currency, because he said in the international community, a lot of people didn't really know who Martin Luther King was. You know.
Okay.
Okay.
But that national holiday, he really has to think on that one because it involves other ethnic groups.
There is a national Juneteenth organization.
Yeah, I know that.
And yeah, I know you know that.
Yeah.
But that organization, they got their stuff together. They got the writings together. They got everything together for President Obama to.
But they've been pushing for that for a long time.
Well, see, it's not just them now. They've got some heavyweights with them. They got some big shots.
In.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be done.
Okay.
It will be done.
Okay.
Okay, and then in 2006, in addition to all the different incidents we just cited to keep the dream alive, here locally, the Genesee County Sheriff's wife, Janet Piquel,
deceased.
And
she's deceased now.
And Geneva Spears and Minister Scott Beck organized in 2006, about 8 years ago, because they have the 8th annual Flint Prayer Chain Day event coming up on Yom Kippur, October 4th, at the front lawn of the City Hall. And see, that shared vision, the same vision Dr. King had is kind
But Geneva had that prayer chain going on longer than 8 years.
Well, the early days of it, they say really, they had earlier days of its formation, but this one coming up is the 8th annual.
Okay. They had earlier days of it.
The earlier days were where she did a march.
No, we did prayer chain.
Yeah.
And we had the same things. We'd be on the corners, doing our thing, evangelizing or whatever on the corner, a rally. I don't remember no marching.
Oh yeah, I was with her when she was marching.
I don't remember.
Outdoor Highway when they had those strip clubs.
Right.
But the strip club, that's a different thing than the prayer chain.
Well, that's what we were doing.
Okay, but I was with her with the prayer chain. I mean the strip club, because we would be out there evangelizing and messing with folks.
Well, that's what street evangelism that Geneva Spears is involved in encompasses. You see.
Yeah. But the prayer chain goes, it didn't really jump off until Jeanette, I think, got involved.
Right. Well, Janet Piquel, let me say this,
And it didn't start growing. Really.
Right. And that's why
really
the NAACP posthumously just honored Janet Piquel down at the Riverfront Hotel Banquet leadership role. But with regard to that, you have to remember that they had TV when Dr. King was aspiring to be the spokesman of the American Civil Rights Movement of the 60s, but there were men like Reverend Joseph Lowry that was
Reverend Lowry,
down in Atlanta, Georgia, that really was like Dr. Martin Luther King, and that was one of the men that inspired Dr. King, but because they didn't have TV when he was aspiring, you didn't hear anything about him. But once you get TV, this is the way, and harnessing social media is how you can get a message out.
And that's how Martin Luther King's movement got the message out through the media, which was very powerful, and it made white people rise up against what they were doing down there to the black people.
And Reverend Jesse Douglas, he was my pastor. He was part of that, and it was just wonderful to hear him talk. I'm so glad that Paul Herring got a chance to do an interview with him.
Well, that's why before I could even get into what happened at Garfield, I'd like to share with you in the next few minutes, is because that was, I just gave you an introduction to has what is going on at the local, at the state and national, and even international level to keep this man. What's wrong with all the Jews and Gentiles of the world joining hands together and singing that old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we're free at last. What a vision. What a dream. We've got to keep it alive. So let me go back to 1986 and tell you what happened that started the movement to get the Treasury Department to think about getting Dr. King on some money.
Good.
Okay, I was at Garfield Elementary School, and the teacher didn't leave a lesson plan. Or an attendance chart. So it was February, snow on the ground. The kids got in, took their galoshes off, and hung their coats up. And they all sat down, and then I asked them to sign a roster attendance sheet so I could see who was there to report it to the principal and teacher up on the end of the day when I turned the classroom keys in. And then, because there was nothing for me to implement.
Hold it just a minute. John, can you put the bond up? Thank you.
Because there wasn't anything for me to implement, I had the girls line up in a single file on one side of the door, and the boys line up in a single file on the other side of the door. And see, when you're teaching lower elementary school grades, you've got to keep order. So I kept everything in order, and we went down to the gym and played dodgeball and basketball. It was at 9 o'clock in the morning till about 10:15. Then another teacher came down, and she said, it's our turn to use the gym. So as I was going back to the classroom, I remembered that at U of M in my education courses, and at Bible College in creative learning techniques with Dr. Hartfield and our past president, Dr. Granville Smith, and our present president, Dr. Henry Fuller, they were teaching me that there are creative learning techniques that if you're in a classroom that you can't implement Plan A, that would be the teacher leaving a folder of what to do. You can implement Plan B by using creative learning techniques, and that's what I learned. So what I thought, because of the importance of Dr. King, and Jesus said there's no greater love than that love which a man lays his life down and dies for his friend. So this man has inspired me my whole life. And so what I did was I implemented Plan B, and this is what I said, because the teacher didn't leave no lesson plan. I said, all right, children, let us get our pencils and paper out, and I want you to draw a picture of Dr. King on a $3 bill, and I showed them a dollar bill like this, a $1 bill, so they could, and I said it wouldn't be right to take George Washington off the $1 bill because he was the father of our country, and Abe off the 5 because President Lincoln abolished slavery. So why don't we put Dr. King on a $3 bill, because Dr. King, 3 is the number, I'm a Christian, of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, the Trinity, you see? Yeah. So they drew a $3 bill with Dr. King on the front and his words, I have a dream, on the back. And then they put Sojourner Truth on a $9 bill, because 9 is the number of judgment on woman having childbirth because she listened to Satan, you see. So with that, they did that, and then they wrote letters the rest of the day till 3 o'clock in the afternoon to President Reagan, asking him to make new denominations of paper currency, the Federal Reserve note. A $3 bill with Dr. King and a $9 bill with Sojourner Truth. This movement from Flint in 1986 began to be called the Martin Luther King Money Project. Oh. Okay, so what happened was I took the manila envelope down to the principal's office, And it was addressed to the White House, and I said, would you please send this to the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? And then I proceeded to work. I have a second shift job, teach over at General Motors. And so I left, and the next day they called me to teach at Whittier Middle School. And at the end of the day, they said the personnel director wants to see you at the Flint Board of Education. So instead of going to work at General Motors, I went over, like I normally do, to the personnel office. I just set my foot in his door, and he looked at me and said, "You're fired." I said, "Fired for what?" He said, "For not following the lesson plan." I said, "There wasn't no lesson plan for me to follow." He said, "Get out of my office, or I'm going to call the police and have you arrested." You know, and at that time, back in 1986, the Michigan Education Association didn't have a union for teachers. Now they do. They were just beginning to organize, so there was really no recourse. And so I'm a Christian, so I just went and prayed about it and just left it, and then went to my job at General Motors, and then. What happened was when I told the people I work with, the taxpayers that have kids in the Flint schools, about this, they said, "Well, Richard, this is a good idea. Why don't you circulate a petition among us and prayer breakfast people, church people, and factory workers?" They all signed a petition, 300 people, and asking the Treasury Department to put Dr. King on a $3 bill and Sojourner Truth on a $9 bill. And then we contacted Dale Kildee, our congressman here in this region, and he called me to his office and prayed with me about it. Then he contacted the Treasury Department in 1986, September 3rd. No, he contacted the Treasury Department after the petition was circulated, September 3rd, 1991, after he had prayed with me in his office. Dale Kildee said, "Richard, I appreciate praying with you at my office building," signed Representative Kildee.
Okay, our time is getting short.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to have to kind of wind it
Oh, okay.
up.
Well, what happened because
get
of
to the bond,
all right because of Congressman Kildee's contact in 1991, when George Bush Sr. was president, his Secretary of Treasury, Catalina Villalpando, sent a letter in response, and they said, "We've seen your petition, but we have no plans to add new denominations of money, even though we recognize that Black Americans have played an important role in our history." Now, that was in 1991. Now, 7 years later, in 1998, this is what nobody knows in our community. In 1998, the Treasury Department put Martin Luther King on a $100 savings bond, and Marian Anderson too on a $5,000 savings bond, Series I.
Not until when I get ready to get through, then you can put it up, but not right now. We talking about the $5,000 bond. I want
Marian
you to finish this about Martin Luther King.
Oh, now this has to be told people too, because you can't go to the bank. In the past, when Martin Luther King was still among us in JFK, you could go to the bank and buy a savings bond. If you had the recipient's Social Security number, name, they'd type it right out and give it to you.
Yeah.
All right, but now they told me just a couple weeks ago, you can't buy these bonds at banks no more. You got to go online at www.treasurydirect.gov. And when you order one, like a $100 Series I savings bond, it doesn't have anybody's picture on it. If you want a paper bond, this is why I wanted to get shared on your program because nobody knows about it. If you want a paper bond, a $100 Series I bond with Dr. King, or a $5,000 Series I bond with Marian Anderson.
Okay, John.
Okay. If you want that, you have got to request it of your income tax preparer, and they will refund your income. That's the only way you can get a paper $100 Series I savings bond, is to request it be sent to you by the IRS, has a refund of your income tax. You have to ask this of your income tax preparer. This is what nobody knows.
So they make it hard for you to get this bond, huh?
Well,
you can't just go online and say, "I request."
You can't go online and request it, because the one they give you when you request it online, there's nobody's image on it. It's just a bond, a $100 bond.
Like the ones used to be back in the day.
Now,
that's where it used to be back in the day.
Now, I didn't know this, but the week that before I just had my income tax done in March, but I didn't know this, and I had about maybe $1,000 refund. So I asked, if I would have known, I could have asked my income tax preparer to please give me my refund back with $100, and I could have given you one, but I didn't know it at the time. See, and they'll send you one in the mail, but that's the only way you can get it.
Would you repeat that again?
All right, there is a condition. If you want a $100 Martin Luther King U.S. savings bond, the only way you can get it in your hand and hold it and give it to your grandchild, if you want to leave it with your grandchild, is to request it to be sent to you has a refund on your income tax.
As a refund.
That's the only way you can get it.
So you got to say, I want 5 $100 U.S. bonds with Martin's picture on it.
Yeah.
And
you
I have to do that with my income tax preparer.
Right. Because the series EE have Jefferson on a $100 bond. Oh. They're different series.
That's Series 1?
That's Series I. That's the new one. Established in 1998 by the Treasury Department. Okay. Nobody knows about this, though.
So this is Series I with Martin Luther King Jr. on. If you want a picture of Martin Luther King, you got to ask for the Series I.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, you need to hear this, too. 1 year after JFK was assassinated, they put his head on a 50-cent piece, the Treasury Department. But it actually took from 1968, added up, it took from 1968 to 1998 to get Dr. King on currency. How many years was that? 30 years. It took 30 years to get the dreamer like Joseph, the prophet like Moses. He saw the promised land. He said, I might not get there with you, but we as a people are going to get to the promised land. It took him 30 years to put that dreamer, that Moses-like prophet. Because he wasn't a government man. He wasn't a government man. It took him 30 years, but they did it. It's better late than never.
And that would happen in 1998. It passed
30 years after the assassination incident. Whereas they put JFK on a 50-cent coin only a year later in 1964.
Well, if people had known.
Yeah, and guess what? After we were
be bought up by
and now. After the petitioners were denied paper money, we asked them back in 1991. 7 years before they put him on a savings bond, to put him, could you take Washington off the quarter? Could you take FDR off the dime? Could you take Jefferson off the nickel? Or could you take Lincoln off the penny and put the dreamer, Dr. Martin Luther King, who just wanted the world to live in peace and harmony, on a penny? They denied that.
This was passed in 1998.
30 years after he was assassinated.
Okay.
And you can't hardly get it. You can't just go to the bank and get it like you used to.
John, could you show the $5,000 bond with Marian Anderson on it also?
Now, if you had a $5,000...
You could also get her bond also through the your tax preparer. You got to request it in order to get them.
If you had a $5,000 refund, they'd send you a Marian Anderson bond.
That sure would be nice.
Yeah.
Give me a few of them.
Well, I wanted to get some to give to my kids because they knew Daddy lost his job in the Flint school system over this. Yeah, we started the movement with the third graders here in Flint.
Here in Flint, Michigan. That is how we got the United States bonds.
The third graders are ever? Well, they probably don't even know.
Well, I had a bushier beard. I had a bushy beard, and one girl walked up to me at the Genesee Valley Mall.
She remember?
And she said, "Are you Mr. Allinger?" I said, "Yes." She said, I didn't have my glasses then. I took them off. Oh, she said, "I remember you. You were the one that had us." Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to wrap it up. It's 4 o'clock. We are going to go over a little. But I want to thank you so much for coming.
It was my pleasure. Because this thing would have just been forgotten had not I bumped into you.
Well, it's out now. Okay. And repeat again how they can get this bond through their tax preparer, and it's called Series I.
If you want a Series I $100 Martin Luther King savings bond, you have to request it of your income tax preparer has a refund. That's the only way you can get it.
As a part of your refund, right?
Yeah, that's the only way you can get it. You can't go to the bank and get it no more. And if you go online to try to get a $100 Series I savings bond, it won't have anybody's image on it.
So, okay, do you, is that with all bonds or is just with Martin Luther King?
All the Series I bonds.
Okay, all Series I bonds. And I only know 2 of them.
Yeah.
I only know her.
Now, I spoke with the Treasury Department agent on this, and he couldn't really give me no explanation as to why we can't.
Just go to the bank and get it like we used to could.
I spoke with an agent about this. I used to get it through
work. When I was working in the factory, I used to just get them bonds through work.
Yeah.
Okay.
quickly. Or pound them if I needed to pound them. You got more money for it back
now
then.
that the show is over, I wanted to tell you.
It's not over. It's not over. Not yet, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for coming and being on our program and telling us about.
Well, there's something very critical I need to tell you, too, because, the Jews are inextricably linked to the Christians church in the God's big picture plan. And right now, like in synagogues, they don't take offerings every Sabbath day. They buy bonds.
Does this have something to do with the bond?
That's what you do. If you're a Jew, you got to buy an Israeli savings bond as your dues to the synagogue every year.
So you're saying black people ought to do it in their churches, huh? Buy some bonds?
It's something you can think about, because most people don't even know about this.
Right.
Yeah,
and that would help sustain the church.
If they knew, they probably
if you're a Jew in a synagogue, see, that secures Israeli security when you buy Israeli savings bonds. And that's the dues you have to pay as a Jew in a synagogue.
Gotta wrap up. Yeah. I gotta wrap up. Wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you once again for being on.
It was my pleasure. My pleasure.
And letting people know about this, the United States bond with Martin Luther King's picture, and the one with Marian Anderson. Amen. And the Series I. Yeah. Okay. Satora's Black History Corner internet program comes to you via satellite at www.ustream TV channel, Flint Talk Radio. You can watch our program every second and fourth Monday of the month starting at 3:30 p.m. Also, be sure to watch What's Going On with political pundit Dr. George Moss every Monday at 2 p.m. Well,
wow.
Yeah.
What a show.
We hope you enjoyed the song you heard at the beginning of our program, Be Proud to Be Black, featuring Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. And if you would like to support this young man and get more information about his CD single, you can contact TP at 810-962-3258. That's 810-962-3258. We must support our own. If you like what you have seen and heard today, please pass it on. Until next time, keep on keeping on with us, along with the sounds of Be Proud to Be Black, and with the celebration of our story all year long.
Amen.
May our Heavenly Father bless you, keep you safe and in His perfect hotep, which means peace.
The importance of moral reformation, a knowledge of
We
self.
must work passionately and unrelentingly for first-class citizenship.
For instance, if the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself.
We've got to get smart. We've got to organize.
And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man.
We've got to organize so effectively and so well and engage in such powerful creative protest that there will not be a power in the world that can stop us.
We gotta be proud to be black. Don't worry about what they say. We gotta think smarter and live smarter. We gotta want more and work harder, cause they ain't giving it to us. Put your all in. If you truly wanna make it, can't be waiting for handouts, baby, you gotta take it. Like Martin gotta have a dream, cause he had one. Like Malcolm, by any means, gotta get that done. Don't be ashamed of who you are, stick your chest out proud. Make them believe that you're the best, show them what you about. We gotta love each other, stop killing each other. We gotta unitize, and don't believe the lies. This is a message to the blacks and any other minority. Live well and love self, that's the priority.
Been taught for so many centuries that they are nobody is not easy.
So they very skillfully made you and me hate our African identity.
Maybe the English language should be reconstructed so that teachers will not be forced to teach the Negro child 60 ways to despise himself and thereby perpetuate his false sense of inferiority.
And hating our features and our skin and our blood, why we had to end up hating ourselves. It made us feel inferior.
We must no longer be ashamed of being black.